Hey everybody, F-Bomb Fitzgerald here, and I'm doing a bit of a different video today. Instead of doing my typical gameplay commentary, I wanted to share my perspective on the recent Gabe Newell talking about Team Fortress 2 news, as well as the way TF2bers have covered it and the way I parse this information. Before I jump into it, I just want to emphasize that this is just my opinion, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and people are certainly entitled to being excited, optimistic, or even pessimistic if they choose to. But we need to draw the line at misrepresenting information willingly or even just flat out lying. I think we're better than that, and I think we have a responsibility to the community, viewers, and ourselves to not do that. So the analogy I've come up with to make sense of this Team Fortress 2 news from Gabe is just one that I think everybody could relate to intuitively and hopefully illustrates my point. So the way I like to think about this is, imagine if you just went to a national chain restaurant like Applebee's or Chili's. You ordered a bunch of food, you're having a good time, but you're starting to wait and 30 minutes go by, 45 minutes go by, it's starting to get close to an hour, and now you're hangry and you don't have any information and you're starting to wonder what's going on. So imagine three different scenarios how you could get your information and how you'd react to them. Scenario 1. You go to the bathroom because you've drunk too many free Cokes, and while you're there, you notice the line cook is at the urinal next to you, and two thoughts immediately go through your mind. First thought is, man, I hope this guy washes his hands before he goes back to the kitchen. But your second thought is, I wonder if this guy knows anything about what's going on with my order. Since this guy works in the kitchen directly with your food, you would hope that he does. So if he happened to mention in passing, oh yeah, the buffalo wings, we just finished frying them, they're going to be out in 3 minutes at your table, you'd have a lot of optimism that he knows what he's talking about because of his direct involvement in your order. Alright, let's look at scenario 2. So in scenario 2, same amount of time has passed, maybe an hour, you don't have any food, and then the shift manager at that restaurant, at that Chili's or Applebee's, comes out and says, I am so sorry for the delay, one of our cooks quit in the middle of the shift, we will give you a free order of onion rings to say sorry, and your food will be out in 10 minutes. In this scenario, the information that you got is from somebody who is not directly preparing your food, but has some involvement in the day-to-day operations of that kitchen and has some line authority over the people making the food. So you probably have a reasonable degree of confidence in the information he just gave you. Let's say scenario 3 is you've been waiting for an hour for your food and you have no information. You're hungry for information and for food, and you're watching the free programming that's on the little TV set that's on the countertop. And in that little informational program, the president of Chili's is doing a pre-recorded message where he says, here at Chili's, we pride ourselves on getting food out to the table as soon as possible. So basically, that's a mission statement from corporate that's not coming from the guy who's making your food or even the guy who's running your particular location where you're eating. While that corporate mission statement is almost certainly true, it also doesn't have any direct bearing on whether or not you're going to eat in the next 10 minutes. So the corollary here is when we get Team Fortress 2 news, different sources have different information at their disposal, and that should impact how much faith we put into the information we're getting. So for example, the equivalent to talking to the line cook in the bathroom at a Chili's might be if I got on an airplane and the guy sitting next to me was an active developer at Valve who works on Team Fortress 2. If somebody like that went on the record saying, "We are working on a trust system similar to CSGO that we think will eliminate bots completely or significantly in the next 3 weeks," that would be fantastic news, and we should all celebrate that, especially given the source that it's coming from. Similarly, if we had a known developer who has worked in the past on Team Fortress 2 in some high-level capacity, like a Dario Casali or Jill, and they gave a similar update, we should also be excited about that news, even if it's not somebody who works in the day-to-day programming of Team Fortress 2. Unfortunately, what we got from Gabe Newell is a lot closer to Scenario C, where it's somebody in corporate who does not work on the team that does Team Fortress 2, does not work in the restaurant where you're eating right now, but instead is a corporate figurehead who used to do programming in the 90s on Half-Life, and last time they were actively supervising a group at Valve that was developing something was over a decade ago with Portal 2, but has not done any day-to-day work with the company since then. Now, I'm not claiming that Gabe Newell has no idea what's going on with Team Fortress 2. I'm sure he gets updates on all of Valve's games if he wants them. But I feel that some TF2bers have misrepresented what Gabe Newell said in that assembly at an Auckland university and made it out to be something that it's not. Now, I really hope I'm wrong, and it is entirely possible that there is a team at Valve that is actively working on Team Fortress 2 and radically improving everything, including the heavy update. But that's just not what he said, and even if he had said it, based on his position in the company, I don't think that that should be taken as proof positive that it's actually happening. And this brings me to my next point, which is that the answers Gabe Newell gave weren't passed down secondhand. It wasn't the minutes from some meeting that was behind closed doors that only a handful of people are privy to. This is from a video clip which is on the internet, available to everybody to see. So when somebody has a hot take based on a video like this, I always encourage people to go watch the source video yourself. It's not like you have to pay to get it. It's not like we're dumb enough to not interpret it well ourselves. If you actually watch the source video, he only says 2 things in the video. The first is, yes, they are aware of the problem. Cool, we knew that already. They pushed a crappy little tiny fix in the past where they just muted some accounts, ineffectively I might add, but they only did that because they were aware of the problem. So that's not any news in itself when he says we're aware of the problem. The other thing he says is, yes, TF2 is getting updates. Let's parse that for a second. I know some TF2bers will have you believe that means, oh, a giant update like the heavy update is coming out. That's not what he said. When any localization file is updated, that counts as an update. When cosmetic crates drop in the summer or Halloween or Christmas, that counts as an update. If that's what we're getting from TF2, Gabe Newell is technically correct and did not lie to us. But to hear some TF2bers tell it, you'd think that we're getting the greatest update of all time. And frankly, there's just no reason to believe that that's coming. So I'm going to end this one with a promise. I am never going to make clickbait content. I'm never going to do clickbait thumbnails. I'm never going to do clickbait hot takes, preying on our hopes and dreams of TF2 updates, just chasing clicks and subscribers, because that's not how I roll, and you guys deserve better. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant. Have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one.